And we are live. I said I was going to start making this a regular Thursday thing, and well, here I am. I missed the last couple of weeks. One, because I swear I slept right through Thursday. I swear I did. But another, because I was sick. So this time, no more excuses. Excuses are for the weak. And I'm, here. So, as per usual, when I do one of these, it's not just me being online talking about random shit. No. It's also that I get just a tiny smidge drunk. Not very. Last time I did about 3 shots, I think. So this time around, we're gonna probably do about the same amount. Hold on. There we go. All right. See, the thing is that I need to pop out the chat so I can read what you evil geniuses are saying while I'm speaking. That's always helpful. So, hello. Howdy, Sam question. Oh, same question as G-Man, I assume you mean. Well, I don't know what you were going to ask G-Man, so you're going to have to be a little more specific about that. Hello, Undead Cow Studios. How are you doing? So, I didn't actually come up with a topic for this week. I don't normally do that. In fact, I'm not really topic people. I just sort of chat about random shit. I mean, I could tell you guys what my life is like right now, but who wants to hear about that boring shit? No, actually, there is something I kind of want to discuss. You see, I've been using the same, let's say 4 outros, the same 4 Patreon outros lately, where, I'm technically begging for money. It's true. And, who doesn't these days? Of course they do. But I've been using the same 4, and it's probably getting tedious or boring for people. And I like to keep content fresh, right? So I've been working on this one, and I just finished it today. And I need some opinions because it's potentially controversial, especially given today some of the issues. I'm sure there's got to be a way to share my screen. I know I've seen people do it, but I don't see the functionality. Where is that? Oh, well, I'll tell you guys about it. The basic idea, you've got like Sandra is up on top of a building, and she's got a sniper rifle, and she's aiming at this one guy's head, and then Dewey pops up in front of the her gun sights, and she's like, hey, get out of the way. And he's like, no, Sandra, this isn't right. There's got to be a better way to earn money than taking assassination contracts. And she's like, well, what do you have in mind? He says, have you ever considered Patreon? And she's like, Patreon? You mean where people donate money for those videos I'm in? Do you really think that'll pay the bills? And Dewey's like, well, if they care about world peace, they'll share, because I mean, what's a few dollars per video to avoid an international incident? And Sandra's like, oh, all right, I guess you have a point. Let's go home. And it fades to white, and you get like words that say, help preserve world peace, donate on Patreon. And then you hear a loud bang and a body thump, and Dewey goes, Sandra, and Sandra's like, what? He was right there. I'll start the Patreon thing tomorrow, I promise. Right now, I think that's kind of funny, twisted humor, but there's a lot of people out there, especially now where gun control is a big thing, that people would probably object to it. People would probably lose their shit. Right? And I mean, if you really think about it, part of the message is don't fucking shoot people. I mean, Dewey's like, there's got to be a better way to earn money than assassination contracts. But let's face it, people on the internet are only going to focus on the really horrible parts. And so obviously the humor is going to be lost on a lot of people. So what I'm asking people about here is, if I used that outro for Patreon, I mean, number one, are people going to say, hey, that's great? Are people going to say, no, that's shitty? Are people going to say unsubbed? I mean, what are people going to say? Yeah, you're right. Yes, it might get me some views too, but will it get me views from the right people? You never know. You never know. So I'm just curious what people think. Would it be a horrible idea? Would it be a great idea? Would people see it for the humor that it is, or would people turn it into a big political thing? I have to wonder. I'm kind of asking for opinions on that, especially since honestly, I want to use it, if for no other reason than because it took so much work. You have no idea. Even leaving aside the fact that animating lip sync is tedious as fuck, I had to build a whole city for it to take place in. And building a city is harder than you might think in CGI. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Nate, I can't really repeat the question because it took a really long time. Let's just say that I made a controversial outro for like Patreon begging, and I was asking people's opinions on whether or not they think I should or shouldn't use it. So, yeah, you're right, Casey. I would hear shit from some of my subs. But when you think about it, there's also a similar outro where a guy's entire neighborhood gets nuked for not rating and subscribing. And I haven't heard shit from people about that either. It's as over the top. Okay, if you want to see the outro, give me a sec. I can show it to you. I honestly thought there was a screen share option in here somewhere, but I can't find it. So, all right, let me pull this up here. And then I will give you guys the URL. Of course, that means you'll be watching it and not me. But here you go. All right, so give that a whirl. Let me know what you think. So while you guys are doing that, I am going to have the night's first shot. Yeah, that's true. Maybe you can get away with more in animation. That's good. I just posted a link, Shard in hand. It's right there. All right. For those of you who weren't paying attention, one more. There you go. So, all right. I need more toasts. I really do, because I used up all my best ones last time. But anyway, down the hatch. Yummy. Anyway. All right. So that's shot number 1 for the night. We'll see how many I get through. One thing that I will have to do, I have actually managed to find some caffeine-free, not diet cola. Do you have any idea how difficult this is to find offline, to find in a retail setting? Now, it's not perfect. I prefer Pepsi to Coke. I really do. I'm not sure I can explain it exactly. Coke is kind of dry, in my never humble opinion. But at least now I can have a rum and Coke for the first time since for frickin' ever. So, right, Furry Skeptic, how difficult is what? Making the animations or finding the Coke? Okay, it's really difficult to find caffeine-free, not diet cola. This is the first time I've found it in a non-mail order setting in like 5 years, give or take. So, yeah. Sorry, what are people saying? Yeah, I don't have a joke answer. I'm sorry. So what are people saying now? I'm seeing a lot of people saying they like the outro. I haven't seen anybody yet say that, no, this will be controversial and you'll get crucified for it. Here we go. Blackjack. I can see where it could upset people due to the idea of a sniper. Yes, since that's much more real for fear, more real fear for people. Yeah, that was part of it. Is like the guy's neighborhood getting nuked. Haha, someone gets nuked because he didn't rate and subscribe. But yeah, guns are such a hot button issue these days. Now, I was raised by left wing like hippies, basically liberals, and I also have issues with people shooting people for real. I don't like actual gun violence, but I watch a lot of action movies and I have no problem like playing video games that have guns in them or playing laser tag or whatever. So, I mean, I'm not rabid and screaming on the issue of gun control. I think I'm more like rabid and screaming on the issue of kill control, if that makes any sense. And so, I mean, really, when I made that outro, I was just thinking of the humor of it. I really was. So, yeah. Okay. So we've got Casey here saying not a gun guy, but you liked the outro. Okay. So maybe I'll use it. Okay, sure, yeah, there'll be backlash, but screw it. The thing I'm worried about is that all of a sudden my channel gets like inundated by Trumpazoids or something, and that would just be like, oh gosh, because of that outro, really? Maybe I'm making too big a deal out of it. Maybe I am. I mean, how much could this one outro cause controversy? Although controversy can be good. I mean, because I have been wanting to find a way to get more, I guess, attention to my channel. I don't know. Because like, I mean, I hate to say it, I've been struggling for the last year just to get up to 21,000 from 21,000 from 20,000 subscribers. And then we've got some people who just started like a year ago who rocketed right past me, got 3,000 in a month recently. And I'm like, oh man, after all this, where's the love for Bionic Dance? So if for some reason someone saw this outro and thought it was a huge deal and say reported it to the news to say, look at what this YouTuber did, well, that's the kind of attention that can get someone subscribers. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I mean, when I went on Tosh.0 that time, and for those of you who don't know, yeah, I was on Tosh.0. They saw one of my videos and said, hey, want to be on? And so I did it. I was expecting to get a bunch of subscribers out of that, and nothing. So I don't know. So yeah. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat here. Why should I make an angel or something mystical instead of a human? What the hell are we talking about? I'm lost. You totally lost me. All right. Well, yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Any publicity is better than no publicity. The Trump way. I mean, that's not the way I want to do it. But Pharynx, it was like maybe 2 years ago. I'd have to look. But yeah, I was on Tosh.0. It was an interesting thing. I mean, like I get contacted out of the blue by this TV show. Hey, do you want to be on? And I said, sure, why not? And I was a little worried because, as I understand it, Tosh.0 does celebrity profiles, but they also do web redemption, where web redemption is like someone royally fucked up somehow. And now they go on to endure some small amount of public abuse to redeem themselves or something. At least that's the way I understand it. For me, they kind of did more of a celebrity profile. They actually did me I don't know. They used me as someone they seemed to respect. I mean, they weren't saying shame on you, shame all over you or nothing. So I guess they really did sort of respect what I was doing. I guess it was a celebrity profile and not a web redemption. Well, in any case, so, okay, Pharynx, there is no Bionic Dance, as you're saying. I think you're thinking of Sandra. Sandra is the animated character. I forget exactly what I named her for. There was a reason why I chose the name Sandra. It had some sort of etymological or legendary basis or something, and it made sense at the time, but now I've completely forgotten why I did it. But, I mean, my channel name is Bionic Dance. Sometimes I call myself Bionic Dance, but I mean, really, I am just Kate. So when I went on Tosh.0, no, it wasn't animated, if that's what you mean by that. So, wow, I was the first atheist you learned stuff from, Rowan. Newport. I don't know how to pronounce that, dude. Newport? Well, in any case, thanks, I guess. I'll take that as praise, I suppose. I'm glad to have been of service, that's for sure. That's actually something I've tried to explain to people a couple of times. I mean, as much as I'm bitching about wishing I had more subscribers, and I do, who doesn't? I mean, right now, YouTube is my sole source of income, and it'd be great to have more of that. But I mean, a lot of what I do is for myself a service to, well, the world, I guess. I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much of myself and my influence, but the truth is that what I do is point out the flaws in religion and how it affects us negatively. And like, we need to do something about that. And I'd like to think that my voice is one out there that's helping to move us in a less superstitious, less fundamentalist, less harmful direction, because religion is ultimately fairly harmful as it's used today. Oh, hello, Her Majesty. She's meowing at me. Sorry. So Blackjack here wanted to ask a question here. At one point, oh, yeah. Okay. You wanted to know why I only wanted to use Sandra and now I'm on camera. What made me change my mind? Uh well, okay. I've mentioned before that people have called me all kinds of names. They've called me ugly. They've made like references to my appearance, a lot of that. And honestly, after about, what was it, like 7 years, give or take, of being on camera, well, it starts to take a toll on your self-esteem a little bit. And so I started using Sandra for a while. And I mean, over time, I started to earn a certain amount of money from YouTube. Not a lot, but enough that I could pay my living expenses and sock a little away. And after a couple of years, I had enough to, well, have my face done. Yeah, had some cosmetic surgery done. And I like how I look a lot better now. And I got on camera after all the swelling went down. That's what happened. So, yeah. And yeah, okay, lone voices can only reach so far. But at the same time, well, I did end up on television. So, I mean, like, it does help that I'm adding to the collective, even if I, as an individual, am not actually on the radar, so to speak. So, well, okay, maybe you think I didn't need it, but I felt like I did, and I'm happy. Hell, one of the more popular atheist YouTubers out there, although she doesn't do a lot of atheist content anymore, is Jacqueline Glenn, and we all know she had her nose done. She said it many times. This is not gossip. So, I mean, you can understand how that might be important to someone, especially on YouTube. I mean, we are, if not celebrities, I hesitate to call myself that, although some people have treated me like a rock star. It's a little weird. But we are public personalities, I guess. We are in front of people's faces a fair bit. And well, one thing that really helps if you're on camera is to look attractive. I mean, you know the song from the 80s, Video Killed the Radio Star? I mean, part of the point of that was you got to look good. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Patton Oswalt. As one of his comedy routines, he was saying, like, isn't it a coincidence that all of today's rock stars, music stars, pop stars, whatever, all happen to be really attractive? Now, I have to wonder, there's got to be people out there who are completely freaking butt ugly, like Steven Tyler ugly, who make amazing music but will never be famous because they don't look good in a video. There's probably tons of them. In fact, I've heard about people who, like, all they do is write songs for the popular people today. Justin Bieber, if he's still famous, doesn't write his own songs. I'm sure of it. He's got people who write songs for him and he sings them like they're freaking karaoke. That's got to be it. And so like it's probably the people who are too ugly, according to Hollywood, to be on camera who are writing his songs for him. So, I mean, yeah. Oh, of course it's a double standard. I mean, I'm just saying what's out there. I'm not saying I approve. But yeah, so I mean, like I say, if I'm going to be on camera, I mean, I got to at least look mildly appealing to people. And unfortunately, for those of you who are saying that I looked good before I started using Sandra, I mean, I appreciate it, but I definitely wasn't appealing to everybody, let's face it. And even now, I'm not necessarily, but it helps to look good if you're going to be on YouTube. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it's unfair, but it's a thing. Exactly. Exactly. What did I have done? Mostly here, here, and here. Mostly. What I'm wondering though, I mean, I don't know if I've like taken away what little ethnicity I had. The thing is, I took one of those 23andMe tests. I should probably put up the video. I have a video of me like spitting into the little vial they give you and all that stuff and mailing it off. I haven't like attached the results to that yet though. But I did take one of those 23andMe things, and I've found out my genetic makeup, which is frankly all the frick over the place. Like the only thing I don't have that I can tell is Slavic. I was surprised actually because I'm like 22% Ashkenazi Jewish. Now I'm adopted, and the adoption agency told me that I'm Italian, Austrian, Cherokee, French, and Black, right? They mentioned nothing about being Jewish, and yet that's my highest percentage. I'm not objecting, I'm just surprised. Like, I had no idea that I was even slightly Jewish. And now that I know, well, hey, now I know, right? Knowing is half the battle and all that shit. Let's see. How did the sleep studies go, and have they helped me with my medical condition? I didn't have sleep studies. I had, like they induced epilepsy with the EEG thing, and I had a seizure while I was asleep, for whatever that's worth. But basically, they've said that, yes, I'm a candidate for actual brain surgery to try to relieve my seizures, but the hospital has been having some sort of weird equipment snafus lately, so they're going to either have those, like the actual machine that does the surgery, repaired or replaced, which means that there is a delay right now on like any day that I might actually have that done. I'm a little worried. Actually, I mean, because who wouldn't with people monkeying about in your head meets? But I'm far more worried about what's been happening in my memory, because there are a lot of things I've gone and forgotten. I mean, like names and faces are disconnected from each other. People I've known for years, all of a sudden I just blank on their name, or someone will say someone's name and their face won't come up in my memory, and it's kind of scary, actually. Did I do any voice work? No. I wish I knew how to get into that industry. I've had people tell me that I could do well in voices. Now, I don't know if I'd necessarily be good at acting. I've tried, like there's a couple of sounds that I can't seem to make properly, like crying and laughing. I have a difficult time with. When I laugh, I mean, like for real, I do this sort of like kind of thing. I can't do an actual laugh like out loud sort of thing, and I'm not really sure what oh yeah, Truth Surge is in that industry. Totally, he's done a voice in one of my videos for me. I should contact him again. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I mean, I could do voiceover work if someone needed, for example, like a paper read or a voiceover for a commercial or something. I would be so all about doing that. But what was I saying? I was saying how difficult it was to do any voice. I had something else I've forgotten. I've completely lost. Oh, right. I was talking about memory. Ha! No, I mean, words and definitions sometimes get disconnected from each other too. I think I mentioned this last time I was doing this, is like, there's all those logical fallacies where I know the concept, but don't even ask me what the hell the Latin name is for them. There was a time before the epilepsy happened, before that bleed in my brain broke something, that I would have all of those things memorized. I had a lot of things memorized. I worked in 4 video stores. If you needed someone connected to Kevin Bacon, I'm who you went to, right? But now, forget about it. I don't have those actors' names in my head anymore. I just can't do it. Like, I might be able to picture Steve Martin, but could I remember his name? I mean, obviously I just did, but that's a bad example. But my point is, well, let's see. Hold on. Undead Couch to use voice in my animations. I can be a voice of mine. Sure. Contact me. I would love to do a voice on your videos. I've actually done voice work for Dark Matter 2525. I'd love to do another one for him. I haven't actually spoken to him in ages, but I'd love to do another voice for him. But yeah, so like I was saying, the like the memory issues are actually worrying me a lot more than the surgery, the brain surgery. But Ask me how I'm feeling when I get closer to the day, right? It might be like, I'm like, memories. Who needs those? Don't stick a laser in my brain. But we'll see. We'll see. So, yeah. Yeah. I think I missed something. Chemo, embryo, some months are worse than others. Some months for what? Me or what? I don't have a lisp. What are you talking about? Decade past decade. I don't have a lisp. I have a little bit of glottal fry, but I don't have a lisp. What are you talking about? Do I? I sound like this just a little bit. I don't have a lisp. No. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. On some people, a lisp is kind of cute, but I don't have that. I've talked about accents before, and one thing I do have still is the sort of glottal stop in place of a T that most people from New England have, especially in Vermont. And like I said, Vermont, not Vermont, Vermont. The capital of Vermont, Montpelier, right? There's that missing T. There was a teacher in my high school named Mr. Belton. He's like, no, my name is Mr. Belton. We're like, yeah, Mr. Belton. And you see, there's no T in Mr. either. Mr. Belton. Mr. Belton. That's just how people from New England talk. There's an accent there. Not the same as Boston. Boston is different, but the rest of New England, yeah. Hey, don't be like that, Tiptoe. Got no real problem with furries. I don't understand wanting to be one, but we got no problem with furries. I mean, see, that's the thing, is like, the first time I heard about furries, what I actually pictured was something like the cast of Cats, right? Cats is a weird musical that I don't know if it's still on Broadway, but it was pretty big back in the day. And they don't look like people walking down the main street of Disney, the people in Cats. They look sort of half breeds kind of thing, not walking stuffed animals. The first time I saw an actual furry, I was shocked at what I was seeing. I was like, this is not what I pictured. So, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like how many times has there been something you've heard described or whatever, and it turns out to not be at all what you pictured? How about a musician where you've heard their songs forever, then you finally see a picture of them, like, wow, you look nothing like I thought you would. Because I recently looked up Eddie Money. Now, I don't know how many of you people know Eddie Money. I don't know, are you an 80s fan like I am? But he's got a bunch of songs. Some of them were in movies. Some of them were just popular. And I looked him up and I was like, whoa, dude, I pictured you looking completely different. So it was the same thing with furries, with what it meant to be a furry. The first time I saw one, I was like, that's so not what I pictured from the description. But whatever. Oh, Grudge. I have every plan to make this a regular Thursday thing, and it's always going to start at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want me to be around when you're around, then you'd better be around at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just saying. Yeah, not 1680s, 1980s. Don't make me come over there. Oh yeah, the 80s were great. I don't know how exactly. I've tried to describe it, where it was like, I mean, maybe part of it is because I was little in the 80s. Like in 1980, the very first day of 1980, I was still 4 years old. I'd been 4 for 16 days, right? So when the 80s finally ended, I was 15 because I'd been 15 for 16 days. But the point being that I spent my entire real, conscious knowing childhood through the 80s. And there was something about that time where it was sort of like shameless fun. People were just having a good time. Everything was neon and pastel. All the music was upbeat and happy. And even the stuff that wasn't upbeat and happy didn't have that sort of cynical, ironic vibe that the 90s had. I mean, again, you look at the clothing, like I said, neon and pastels, but then you look at the 90s and everything was all grunge. It was like plaid shirts tied around the waist and baggy pants and shit. And everyone looked really unkempt. And while there was a certain amount of irony that I enjoyed in the 90s, I mean, Animaniacs was so much fun and it called out a lot of the silly stuff that we have today. And They Might Be Giants was weird. I liked their music too. But there was so much that was just so unhappy in the 90s. And coming from an 80s kid who was so used to everything being fun, it kind of, it was a horrible time to be in your early 20s. Let's just say that, late teens, early 20s. So, well, okay, Pharynx, maybe everyone is just nostalgic for their childhood, but I can't imagine being a child in the 90s. One of my cousins was, and he was all about like Ren and Stimpy, for example. His thing was Ren and Stimpy. I never had MTV, so I didn't get to see Beavis and Butthead much. My friends had it, but we tended to spend time like not at each other's houses when we hung out. So I don't know. But I look at my favorite comparison, for example, is the lyrics to theme songs for sitcoms in the 80s. Because you look at the lyrics for Perfect Strangers, what is it, like standing tall on the wings of my dreams and all of that? It's like this like hope charged sort of thing. And then you look at, say, the theme song for Friends, and it's like, so no one told you life was going to be this way. Your job's a joke. You're broke. Your love life's DOA. How the hell is that a way to start a fucking sitcom, huh? Sorry, but I prefer the more like we're going to make it vibe to the 80s. So, yeah. Oh, I find it so difficult to believe being a teen in the 70s because disco. But I don't know, maybe there were other things about you know, the 70s that weren't so bad. I look at bell bottoms and I think, ugh. So anyway, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm starting to wonder if it might be time for shot number 2, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. Nah, it's been too recently since shot number 1. So, yeah, bright colors and hair metal. Exactly. Yes. I mean, I don't know if you can see this. 80s rock is the t-shirt. So, anyway, the Dead Kennedys. You know, I haven't listened to them as much as I might. The problem is when you say the Dead Kennedys, what pops into my head is the Dropkick Murphys. I don't know. At some point, okay, I know it's kind of weird, but I'm still doing the Balboa Park stuff. If you want to meet me at all and you're in the San Diego area, Saturdays at Balboa Park, I'll be there. Anyway, like, sure, I'm drinking Captain Morgan right now, but I did not actually have my first drink of alcohol till I was like 24, 25, something like that. A friend of mine found out that I'd never had any booze and said, "We're going to an Irish pub." And I was like, okay. So we went to this place called Kells in Pike Place Market down in Seattle, right? And we saw this band play. They're called Grafton Street. They're from Portland, Oregon. They're fucking awesome. I love them. But it was that moment that got me into Irish drinking music. And that's why when you say the Dead Kennedys, my brain hears Dropkick Murphys. I love the Dropkick Murphys, the Pogues, the Dubliners, all of those guys. They're great. So, yeah, I think the reason I like Irish drinking songs so much is because, like I said, I was raised by hippies who made me listen to so much folk music. Oh my gosh, I listened to so much fucking folk music. Oh, and I not sure I hated it exactly, but I sure wasn't a fan. But I think because I spent so much of my childhood with that, I ended up really enjoying Irish drinking songs because they're similar enough in style, if not lyrics. So, yeah. Now, I see people posting lyrics to drinking songs. My favorite is Black Velvet Band. I don't even know why. There's just something about the tune. Right? Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up in a black velvet band. I love that song. I don't know. It's fucking awesome. So, yeah. Of course, there's this other one. It's obviously not Irish because it's called The Scotsman. but it's great. Now, okay, granted, it might be that I've had a little too much of this already, just one shot, but still. Okay, I don't know how many of you remember a guy, he hasn't made videos in forever, called All Babies Are Atheists, right? My friend Glenn, he and I used to do, well, back when Blog TV wasn't around, we used to have Blog TV days, and we would do karaoke, where we'd invite someone into the chat and let them do their karaoke song. Then one of us would do a karaoke song or something like that, and so on and so forth. So obviously, I'm not too terribly abashed about singing in public and singing online, right? And so I'm tempted, because I could never do this one as karaoke because it's completely a cappella, but there's this song called The Scotsman. And I'm tempted to do it now. And like I said, maybe my courage is up because I've had enough of this rum, but it's a very amusing song. It really is. And I'm tempted to, I don't know, does anyone want to actually hear me do that? Or should I not bother? I might regret it. I mean, these live thingies get posted to my channel, and like people might see it and they go, ha ha, look at what Kate did. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay, you want me to sing. All right. Let's see if I can do this here. Well, the Scotsman, clad in kilt, left a bar one evening fair, and one could tell by how he walked that he drunk more than his share. He fumbled round until he could no longer keep his feet, then he stumbled off into the grass to sleep beside the street. Ring ding diddle diddle audio, ring da diddly io. He stumbled off into the grass to sleep beside the street. About that time, two young and lovely girls just happened by. One said to her other with a twinkle in her eye, "See yon sleeping Scotsman, so strong and handsome built, I wonder if it's true what they don't wear beneath the kilt. Ring ding diddle diddle audio, ring da diddly io. I wonder if it's true what they don't wear beneath the kilt." They crept up on that sleeping Scotsman, quiet as could be, lifted up his kilt about an inch so they could see, and there, behold, for them to view beneath his Scottish skirt was nothing more than God had graced him with upon his birth. Ring ding diddle diddle audio, ring da diddly io, was nothing more than God had graced him with upon his birth. They marveled for a moment, then one said, "We must be gone. Let's leave a present for our friend before we move along." As a gift they left a blue silk ribbon tied into a bow. Around the bonny star the Scots kilt did lift and show. Ring ding diddle diddle audio, ring da diddly io. Around the bonny star the Scots kilt did lift and show. Now the Scotsman woke to nature's call and stumbled towards the trees. Behind the bush he lifts his kilt and gawks at what he sees, and in a startled voice he said to what's before his eyes, "Oh lad, I don't know where you been, but I see you won first prize. Ring ding diddle diddle audio, ring da diddly io. Oh lad, I don't know where you been, but I see you won first prize." So yeah, that song amuses the hell out of me. I'm pretty sure it was on a Dr. Demento CD that someone got me for my birthday. So yeah, like I said, I'm into drinking songs. Drinking songs are awesome. So yeah. Anyway, I have a kitty sleeping on my lap. I am infested with lap kitties. You know, somehow it got really warm in here. I'm like sweating all over the place. It's been like cloudy all day and kind of cold out, actually. And given that it's May in Southern California, it ought to be warmer than this. And now all of a sudden it's kind of roasting. I wonder if it's the headphones. Maybe headphones covering my ears is doing it. I don't know. So apparently I did good. You people like the singing and all that? Yes, it's all the loving I'm getting from the June gloom. It's funny. Okay. I mean, you say June gloom. I have only been in San Diego for like a year and a half. I don't remember exactly how the months go. I'm still sort of oriented on Seattle weather timeline calendar thing. So yeah. But I guess it must be starting early. It's actually been mostly cloudy in the mornings. And it's been like getting blue, call it around noonish, give or take. But it's in the mornings, it's been pretty Seattle out. Yeah, maybe it is the captain. Maybe you're right. Judy Blume, it's funny. I'm trying to remember. I think I've read Judy Blume. Did she write Super Fudge? Was that hers? Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing? Was that her? Or am I thinking of Beverly Cleary? Because Beverly Cleary, I think, was the Ramona books. Okay, decade past there. Seattle is lovely for 2.5 months out of the year. Okay, from like mid-June to mid-August, Seattle rocks. Otherwise, it will slowly kill you. The weather, I mean, seriously, it's the worst weather ever. So, excuse me. Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. If I could give Seattle the weather of San Diego, I would still live there. That's just all there is to it. So Portland is lovely. I love Portland. Portland is so nice. Like if I had to stay somewhere in the Pacific Northwest and I had to pick somewhere other than Seattle, it would either be Portland or Vancouver, BC. And let's face it, I mean, Canada is nice. There is nothing wrong with Canada that warming it up and nuking Quebec won't fix. And you could probably accomplish both with the same missile. I'm just saying. So yeah. I've never been to Wisconsin. Actually, there's a lot of states I've only ever flown over, I have to say. But Bellingham, Washington, Bellingham, I think so. I don't know. I've been to a lot of places and yeah. But point being that if it weren't for the American Atheist Convention, and I really should go to the next one, I think, there's a lot of places I never would have been, like Missouri, for example. Probably, no, wait, I think I've been to Texas at a time other than the Atheist Experience. I'm not sure. Atheist Experience, American Atheist Convention, which is where I met most of the people from Atheist Experience. But and where was it? There was one in New Orleans, wasn't there? I'm pretty sure I went to New Orleans that time. Yeah. So there's just a lot of places I never would have been if it weren't for the fact that the American Atheists like to hold their conventions in places that aren't, like, say, on the coast, for example, where people are a lot more open to the idea of being atheist, where it's not quite so rabidly religious. So yeah. Of course, a lot of people have told me that I've never been to Texas because all I went to was Austin. And I understand what they mean. Austin is apparently this inky, dark splot of blue and otherwise bright-ass see-it-from-orbit red Texas. So, yeah, I guess I've never really been to Texas. I've been to Vegas. I've been to Phoenix. Okay, here's a question I've often wondered. Where does the South end while still being the South in the United States? Because when people talk of the South, they're probably thinking of like Georgia, Louisiana, etc. But I live in Southern California, and it's not the South. Or perhaps I should say, it's not the South. It's, I don't know, I'm trying to do a Southern accent, and it's coming out like half British. I don't know why. But yeah, so, I mean, what is like, you think New Mexico and Arizona are the dividing line there? I don't know. Oh, one thing I'd love to do, Aspie Man, is come to the UK someday. I often wonder, like, okay, because I used to have a New England accent, right? And I mean, New England, we have a lot of weird little quirks up in Vermont, around like New Hampshire and Maine. But after living in Seattle for a while, I sort of lost most of that accent, and I have to wonder if I went to a country like, say, England or Australia, would I slowly pick up that accent? I have to wonder, because I mean, I think it would be really cool to have, say, an Australian accent. And one thing I've noticed is that people with accents do better on YouTube. Like, if they're not American, they just fucking do. I don't know. It's one of those things. So, yeah, I'd watch the telly. Okay, there's one thing I would never do is fucking watch the telly. I would watch the television. I'd watch the TV. I don't fucking watch telly. I'm sorry. I don't care. That just sounds silly. And that thing in the grocery store is a shopping cart, not a trolley. A trolley is one of those one car, like with a roof thingy trains. Those are trolleys. Okay? So, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like England. I like the English accent, but there are some words folks use. Okay. There was once someone told me to go look in the garage. And I was like, what? What the hell's a garage? And they said, where the car goes. I said, you mean the garage? So, yeah, apparently garage. I never would have pronounced it that way. I look at the word. That's not how I would say it. I don't know. Well, okay, bangers and mash. Yeah, I can't have bangers because pork gives me a seizure. So unless they start making like all beef bangers, which sounds like a really weird like I could see They Might Be Giants doing a song called All Beef Bangers, couldn't you? Yeah. So right. Boot. No, I mean, okay, I get boot and bonnet. They sound silly, but I get boot and bonnet. But yeah, it's the hood and the trunk. I mean, okay, hood, bonnet, I can see that. But trunk and boot, I don't know. See, the thing is, like, okay, when someone says that they got hit on their bottom, what do they mean? They usually mean their ass, right? They usually mean their butt. That's not my bottom. That's the back of my middle. My bottom is down there on the like bottoms of my feet. That's my bottom. Where are you guys standing if your butt is your bottom? Explain that one to me. And what if you're like lying on your stomach? Now it's definitely not your bottom. The English language is such a weird thing. Yeah, it does. All beef bangers does sound like gay porn. Yeah, it does. or a Seattle garage band. Sure. Yeah, All Beef Bangers is a Seattle garage band. Okay. Sure. Well, in any case, I don't really watch porn. It's not my thing. I think part of it, like I used to work in 4 video stores back in the day, back in like the 90s and early 2000s when video stores were still a thing. I haven't seen one in ages. I think it's because you can get just about everything online somewhere, somehow. Who knows? Maybe they still exist, but I haven't seen one. Point is, my very first job was at a place in Vermont. And there was this guy that would come in every now and then who had a little flip notebook with the tag numbers of all of the porn that he had and hadn't seen. And he was so enthusiastic about it. Well, maybe not enthusiastic. Let's say shameless about it. Where he would come up to us and he'd go, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? And we're like, yeah. And I mean, he had no shame whatsoever, which in a way I have to respect. You know, I do have to actually look at that guy and go, well, there's someone who knows what he likes and is willing to say it and doesn't care if anyone thinks he's a bit loopy for liking it. And what's so loopy about liking porn anyway? I mean, it's not my thing, really. It's not. But I mean, there's nothing like technically wrong with it. The people involved are probably getting paid unless they're being coerced. At that point, if it's like slave labor, then I'll say, yeah, I don't think those people should have to do porn for money. But other than that, I mean, so it's okay with me if that's what the guy was doing. But yeah, it was one of those things. Now it was weird. Like, okay, the store I worked at, the way it worked, they had like just the videos in plastic cases, and we had to like slice up the box that the video came in and put those in the case. Like there's these little plastic flaps that you can put them in to show what movie it was. But all the porn was in the back in binders where like you had to take a tag out. Like I said, the guy with the flip book had the tag numbers. And so you had to take the tag out and bring it up to the front. And we would go and get it, like the actual videotape from this shelf and bring it to you. So that was how you got your porn. It was different. And so I guess in a way you kind of had to be shameless to get your porn from this video store, because there was no way no one was going to not know that's what you were getting. Because how many times, like someone would bring up a video and I just open it up, scan it, put it to the side, open up the next one, scan it, put it to the side, not even looking at the titles unless someone said, hey, is this any good? And so if someone just had a box of porn, I probably wouldn't have noticed, but they bring up those tags and I have to go over to the porn shelf. Yeah, I know that's what they're fucking doing. And if anyone knows anything about how the video store worked, they'd know that the person that was ahead of them in line was getting porn. So you kind of had to be a little shameless. So, yeah, that's a thing. So, actually, no. If you didn't rewind the videotape, we just had the rewinder thingies and that was it. It was annoying, but we didn't charge people. You didn't get like an extra 50 cents for not rewinding. I guess we just were user friendly that way. I don't know. But it was because of those 4 video store jobs where I was the one you came to if you needed someone connected to Kevin Bacon. I mean, like I said, I can't do it now because of my memory issues with the epilepsy, but there were certain tricks to it because there were certain hub movies where you could go, this is a movie with Kevin Bacon in it, where he's connected to so many other people. I mean, for example, Tremors, right? Now, you know who was in Tremors? Ariana Richards. You know what Ariana Richards was in? Jurassic Park. Hello, with Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill and all those folks. What the hell is his name now? I can't remember his name. The guy who was in Seinfeld left and right. The guy who played I think his name was Neary or something, the chubby dude, whatever his name was. And then also in Tremors, you have Fred Ward, and he was in tons of stuff too. There's just all these famous people in Tremors, and that's only one movie. So if you knew these hub movies and you needed someone connected to Kevin Bacon, well, it was really easy to go, well, like what else was Ariana Richards in? And who else was in Jurassic Park? I mean, if I needed to say connect... what the hell's his name? Dude who played Clarence Boddicker in RoboCop, right? To Kevin Bacon, you could say, well, he was in RoboCop with Peter Weller, who was in The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension with Jeff Goldblum, who was in Jurassic Park with Ariana Richards, who was in Tremors with Kevin Bacon. It was that simple, and I had all that shit memorized. And no, Peter Weller was RoboCop. No, Clarence Boddicker was someone else, and I cannot remember his name. That's right. Yeah, he was briefly in A Few Good Men. And who was in A Few Good Men? Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, and someone else's name I can't remember. So, I mean, there's just so many ways to connect people to Kevin Bacon. And I used to be amazing at it before these memory issues hit. Kiefer Sutherland, yeah, he's another one. I seem to remember The Lost Boys was a really good way to connect, but I forget how. Like I say, memory issues. But yeah. Right. He was Red from that 70s show, but what the hell is the guy's real name? I used to know this so well, and I cannot remember his name. Where can you get the shirt I'm wearing? I'm pretty sure I got it on Amazon. Yeah, Kurtwood Smith. Thank you. Yes, Kurtwood Smith. Exactly. That's the guy. So, do I smoke weed? No, I don't smoke weed. And I'll tell you why is because it gives me the weirdest, it's not exactly nausea, but it's more than just being dizzy. I don't feel good on weed, which sucks because it's supposed to be a vasodilator, makes my blood vessels expand, which is supposed to help with the epilepsy because vasoconstrictors like caffeine will generate a seizure. So I wish I could do weed, but I can't. I wish I could. So that stinks. Okay, the fact that marijuana is starting to be legalized, I think is great. I think it's wonderful. I just would prefer it if everyone who did it would do it like, was it upwind or downwind? For some reason, I can't remember which one is the one where the smoke doesn't come to you, but whichever one. Yeah. So I would prefer. Well, look, I've tried vaping weed. I have tried using droplets. I've tried a little bit of everything, and I've tried using just CBD and not the THC, and et cetera, et cetera. I've tried it all, and it always makes me feel nasty. So I'm just not. I don't know about strains. Okay, I will admit, Cast Iron Revival, I don't know squat about strains. I just know that I was looking at percentages. So I didn't I never found anything that worked for me. So really all I'm able to do now is avoid the things that I know are triggers, which sucks because almost every last one of them is something I like. I mean, the one that hurt the most is ginger, but caffeine, which is also in chocolate as well as sodas and coffee. I never used to like coffee because I have that super taster gene where you can taste bitterness other people can't. And so coffee was always too bitter for me. But when I started putting like enough sugar and milk in it to kill the bitterness, it's actually very tasty. And now I can't have it. After like 2 or 3 years of actually really enjoying coffee, bam, the bleed in my brain, epilepsy caused, and now seizures from caffeine. So I can't have coffee anymore. Yeah. Well, what you gonna do? Wait, treat the pot smoke like a shot of tequila. You don't want to throw a shot in someone's face. Okay. I don't know what that means. But the thing is, wait a minute, your name is Edison Carter. I know that name. Wasn't that Matt Frewer's character in Max Headroom? And I'm just saying, yeah, no bacon. I can't have bacon. Pork is out. So, and I can't drive. Although, if that brain surgery cures the epilepsy, stops the epilepsy, I'm thinking very seriously about getting a vehicle. My condo actually comes with a parking space. I'm renting it out right now since I can't use it. So it's like an extra $100 a month, which is apparently cheap in San Diego for a dedicated parking space. But what the hell? I mean, I'm not using it, and $100 a month is $100 a month. But yeah, so okay, I think that the first shot's starting to wear off a little. So I am going to actually have a mixer because, well, last time what I did was I put 2 shots of rum in the cup along with some Sprite, actually, and I still have that Sprite. I was holding on to it in prep for this episode, but because I found the caffeine-free non-diet Coke, I'm going to actually have a rum and Coke for the first time in like 5 freaking years. So, yeah. Although, like I said, I prefer Pepsi. I do. Pepsi is not as dry as Coke. It's ever so slightly bitter. Yeah, Max Headroom is kind of an 80s obscurity, but I have it on DVD. So, I mean, you know me in the 80s. How many times do I have to tell folks how much of an 80s kid I am? I have to wonder. Okay, so there. Now, like I said, I used up my toasts last time, but I'm going to say this because a bunch of you didn't get it, and I'd love to see if anyone knows this toast without having to look it up. So, may the wait. To the Cubs winning the World Series and big tits. Oh, sure, yeah, the Police is a good band. I like that. I enjoy the Police. Mind you, off the top of my head, I can only name like one song off the top of my head, and I'll probably mix it up with Sting's solo work. But no, the quote's not from Steel Magnolias. Okay, did I like Ready Player One, you're asking? Yes, but I have to say this. Love Van Halen. My best decision ever in my entertainment consumption life was refusing to reread Ready Player One before I saw the movie. Because you see, I'd read the book years ago, and I only remembered the barest details, enough to basically go, well, I think I remember the plot. But that was it, right? A lot of the details were gone. And I said to myself, look, how many times do they royally fuck up a movie version of a book you love? How many times? Almost always, almost inevitably. I think the only time I can point to a movie that's based on like a book or a comic or something where I thought, oh, they got it right, was Watchmen. Even the stuff they changed, and they changed almost nothing, they got really, really right. And so, I mean, okay, granted, the actors in Watchmen could have been a little older, could have been a little chubbier, more over the hill, kind of like at the beginning of The Incredibles, but they still, I think, did really, really well. Now, with Ready Player One, they changed so fucking much for the movie. They really did. If I had reread that book, I would have been pissed, right? But I went and saw the movie and had so much fun, and then immediately started to reread the book. And I was like, wow, if I had done this, I would have been offended. But I did it afterward, and now I have a movie I love and a book I love. And that's great. That was one of the best decisions I ever made. So I'm just saying. Now, okay, Dune, you ask. Do I like Dune? No. And I've tried so hard to like Dune. It seems like the kind of thing I should love. I mean, the premise is kind of cool, and I like the idea, but I tried to read the book, and it had the same problem as Game of Thrones. You see, Game of Thrones and Dune, they over describe everything. They don't leave anything to my imagination. When there's 3 pages describing the place settings and curtains of a dining room, I'm sorry, but that's too much description. Let me imagine shit, right? But I also have the David Lynch movie and the miniseries on DVD, and every now and then I try so hard to like them again, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. And I mean, this isn't a matter of hatred, though. I mean, I want to like Dune. I want to and can't. And it's frustrating. It really is. Wait, there's a Wrinkle in Time movie? I must have missed that. You know, you ask about Foundation by Isaac Asimov, and I look at my Kindle and I have the first book, and apparently I got 46% of the way through it and then stopped, and I don't remember why. I don't know. David Lynch is not my thing, really. Sorry. David Lynch is a little too, I don't know, out there, I guess. Well, okay, so you're asking about my favorite sci-fi movies. Obviously, Star Wars. Now, I have to say to you people that hate the prequels, there's something wrong with you. Okay, the prequels are not amazing. They're not as good as the original trilogy, but I'm sorry, they're not as bad as people like to make out. I mean, yes, there are some iffy parts, but they're still fun to watch, and that's all that matters. Okay, they're not horrible. They're not the shitstorm everyone thinks they are. They're just fucking not. Now, that said, yes, the original trilogy is really good. Now, other favorite sci-fi movies, Tron comes immediately to mind. I love the unholy shit out of Tron. It's such a good flick. And, you know, it's funny. They did a novelization of it. I think it was Alan Dean Foster wrote the novelization of Tron. And it explains so much that wasn't actually in the movie. I mean, it was in the movie, but it was like little concepts that they never actually took the time to explain in the movie. For example, when Flynn is wearing that sort of sash thing, that half sash, and you notice like all of the other conscripts that are at the sort of presentation by Sark at the beginning, they're wearing them too. But it never really dawned on me that they're wearing them because they're new recruits, because they're new conscripts, right? So it's just lots of little things like that, little details that like reading the novelization, then rewatching the movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So Tron is amazing. There is a blatant Star Wars ripoff called Star Chaser: The Legend of Orin. I mean, it's got a young guy with a sword and like a bad guy who's really creepy. They've got a smuggler who takes him to Toga Togo, the thickest den of thieves this side of Bordegon, which is totally not the same as Mos Eisley, the biggest den of thieves, or whatever it is. I don't know, brain not work now. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. That's it. Totally not the same. And I mean, it's such a blatant ripoff, but it is so much fun. I love it. Let's see. Yeah, I've seen The Black Hole. It was not good. Not good. Too dark. Too scary. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at, oh, of course, The Last Starfighter. Of course, well, hell, I've got The Last Starfighter tattoo right here. That was on Alex Rogan's uniform. Love The Last Starfighter. I mean, come on. Somebody who is playing video games, does really well, and gets invited to go into space because of it. Come on. How's that not going to appeal to an 80s kid, right? And then, what was the other one I was going? Oh, Explorers. Oh my gosh, Explorers is so freaking cool. Kid has a dream about circuit boards. Hello, circuitry, right? And goes to his scientist friend and they build a spaceship out of it because they were sent to people by aliens. Oh my gosh, right? Yes, Enemy Mine is good. Indiana Jones, of course, is good. Let's see. Let me look over here at my other sci-fi flicks. I'm sure I've got other. Oh, well, okay, not exactly sci-fi, slightly sci-fi-ish, but Krull was fun. Although the thing about Krull is it watches like it was made by people who had a bunch of action scenes that they wanted to weld together if they could. It didn't seem like one cohesive story. So, yeah. Oh, of course, Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, Flight of the Navigator is great. Definitely. Let's see. A force field and fill it with tree fort, right? The Midnight Gloria on YouTube. Is that a song? Because I know of a song called Gloria, but I don't think it's the same thing because I think it's by someone else entirely. Compliance. Yes, of course, Back to the Future. Everyone loves Back to the Future. Although, I mean, I like Back to the Future too because they go to the future and I love the future and I love the future they go to, but they spend so little time there. It's kind of annoying, but still. Wait, they made Neverwhere into a series? I've read the book. I don't remember much about it because it was a long time ago, but I didn't know they made Titan AE is only okay. It was too 90s for my tastes. So, yeah. Man, Neverwhere. I don't remember Neverwhere. I own it. I know I do, but I don't remember it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They're remaking the Never-Ending Story. Why? Never mind that they're remaking Flight of the Navigator. That's just fucking stupid. But how do you remake the Never-Ending Story? That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. They've got to stop remaking shit. Okay. Hollywood, come up with a new plot, a new story, do something new, for fuck's sake. I mean, or if you're gonna remake stuff, right, at least respect the original material. If you're gonna make a sequel that came out to a movie that came out 30 years ago, try to make it so you can watch them back to back and feel a sense of continuity. How hard is this? Yeah, okay, E.T. was good. No, they're not rebooting Gremlins. Tell me they're not rebooting Gremlins. And you know what I saw a trailer for earlier today? Well, a teaser really is a new Predator movie. And from what I can tell about the Predator, this new Predator movie is that they're like they said something about hybridization, where some kid, I guess, is given a Predator suit of armor or something, and it like takes him over and makes him into a half human, half predator or something. I don't know. One thing I'm trying to think here, like I remember it in the comics, but not in any of the movies, that the predators actually had a name. The way the aliens are called xenomorphs, it's like Yaujta, like Yajuta or some shit. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. No, I'm sorry. 2001: A Space Odyssey is not a good movie, and I'll tell you why. It's too goddamn slow. You would not have to do much to 2001: A Space Odyssey to make it a movie worth watching. Number one, make the scenes with all the apes and the primitive whatevers half as long. Make the docking sequence half as long, right? Just editing tricks. That's all it would take. And also, though, you would have to reshoot like Bowman and whatever the hell his partner's name was, and give them personalities. They're too monotone. But other than that, it would be an amazing movie if it weren't for that. It's just, I mean, speaking of someone with ADD, it's too goram slow. So, yeah. But they're remaking The Crow. Really? I mean, I didn't even like The Crow. Again, 290s. I didn't like the dark cynicism and irony of the 90s. I mean, okay, granted, they're like, they did it okay in a lot of comedies. I mean, Wayne's World was a good comedy for the 90s where it made fun of so much stuff. It had that postmodern vibe to it. But but for the most part, they took it too far. It was too over the top. I don't know. Yeah, well, I'm not a huge fan of the Blue Danube. I'm not a huge fan of the music they used either. I mean, for my money, you know what's weird? The best Hollywood composers have names that start with J. John Williams, James Newton Howard, Jerry Goldsmith. Who's the other one I'm thinking of? There's another one I'm thinking of, but like seriously, the sheer number of J's like that composed really good music. It's crazy. I don't get it. So wait, what did Beach 8 say? Johnny Dangerously? Are you kidding me? Of course everyone knows that movie, or they better. I've got a copy of it here somewhere.